The plan was simple, a 10-mile kayaking trip from Heybridge to Mersea Island. I've been kayaking for 4 years now, and from experience it shouldn't take much longer than 4 or 5 hours, maybe 6 if the weather isn't in our favour. Down to the local Tesco's, buying enough supplies to last us a couple of days, just in case.
What are we going for?
Arr. Ordered enough Chinese takeaway for dinner, and even breakfast.
The breakfast of kings. Mine no longer resembles food. It resembles the thing that happens after food.
And so our journey begins.
Graceful.
Right, we're probably about 10 minutes into the journey, not far at all, and it's beginning to hail.
The first stint of our journey went perfectly. We had the wind behind us, a little bit of hail, but we made it across the Osea Island causeway before low tide. However, as the water opened up, the winds became a little less forgiving and the waves became a lot larger, and our boat soon filled up with water, meaning we had to make an emergency stop on Osea Island.
So the weather was a little bit worse for us, and we've had to make a pit stop on Osea Island, which is a famous island where I think David Beckham went away at one time. It might be a bit too windy to hear me, so I don't even know if that's useful footage or not. Over and out. Modern barges. Like the sun's still on Osea Island, although I'm going back to Osea Island.
After emptying our boats of water, we attempted to leave the island a couple of times, but the weather wasn't allowing it.
Yeah, at the moment we can't go anywhere!
We decided to stop for a spot of lunch, hoping the storm would pass us over.
On Osea Island still, and we're going to have a picnic while we wait for the wind to die down. Yeah, we hope the wind dies down. If not, we're going to be pretty screwed. Because it's not an impossible journey, as long as we don't have impossible winds. Yeah, so you won't be able to get to Mersea if the wind's against us. Yeah. Let's go flood our kayak. Okay, picnic time. Okay, attempt 3 to try and leave Osea. Yeah, the weather's a lot nicer than it was. I didn't film the worst of it, but I will tell you now, it was not nice at all. Yeah, the sun just came out. Beautiful.
After at least a couple of hours being stranded on Osea, we had escaped the island's grasp. Our problems weren't over yet.
Yeah, so see as far as the eye can see, and oh my god, is it getting choppy. Camera's going away. See you on the other side.
The weather wasn't great, but we were making headway. We then started to notice something wrong with Micah's kayak.
Micah's boat is like lopsided, and I think if you see here, it's slowly sinking underneath the water, and we're thinking we're taking on a little bit of water inside the boat, so we need to go dock up on the mud and sort that out. Over and out. So what I think's happened. It's got back heavy, but I also think you're going to have a bit of water in the kayak itself. So we're going to have to put everything in there, turn it upside down so we can empty some of the water out. Look how much water's coming out of this kayak. I'm surprised we didn't sink. Oh, I'm shivering to hell.
After emptying the kayaks internally of water, we had Mersea Island in our sight. We were running a little later than expected, but it was still achievable. I turn around and notice Micah is kayaking the complete wrong way. He was heading to Bradwell. There was another storm brewing ahead. My only options were to abandon Micah or turn around and find what the hell was going on. In doing so, we would jeopardise our trip, as there really wasn't any way we could get to Mersea with the storm not on our side. The only option was to ride the storm to Bradwell. To illustrate how strong the storm was, here are the Strava results, and you can see after 6 hours of kayaking, our speed is almost doubled on average during this part of the journey.
Yeah, it's going to be dead hard again. So why are we in Bradwell, Micah?
Sea broke on the kayak.
Yeah, we're in a little bit of trouble. It's a turnaround as an emergency to get here. So we are not sure what we're going to do at the moment.
It's almost 6 PM and we have limited time before sunset. The wind isn't in our favour and it's now low tide, meaning our original destination on Mersea Island is just mud. Mud, mud, mud. There's no way we can kayak to there. We had to make a decision to aim for somewhere on the very west side of Mersea Island, which was a little bit more accessible by the water. The camera I was using has now run out of battery, so unfortunately I don't have any footage for this part of the journey. Here's some stock footage courtesy of my brother's drone. We've been out on the water since 10:30 in the morning and we're absolutely exhausted. This last stint of our journey, we had the weather against us, and I honestly didn't have any idea if it was impossible to even make this journey. I remember thinking at the time this was probably one of the most difficult experiences I've ever had to endure. The temperature was dropping, the sun was setting, and both Micah and I are cramping up. Looking back on it now, it was a dangerous decision to carry on, but we did. 3 hours of grueling non-stop kayaking into headwinds, travelling at slower than walking speeds, and the horizon didn't appear to be getting any closer. It's now 9 PM and the sun is set. We're extremely close to land and it's starting to rain. It feels somewhat dramatically poetic to end our journey. We stumble ashore and I grab my phone to call my mother to say, "Can I have an emergency pickup?" As I've hung up the phone, Micah, who's just climbed the sandbanks, shouts over to me. Guess what? We're stranded on another bloody island. So here's some drone footage of what the island looks like in the day, but at the time this was lower tide, so it's mostly mud where the water is. So we spend another 40 minutes dragging our kayaks through the mud. Micah gets stuck, but this time I did have to abandon him, as my mum hadn't heard from me since the previous phone call, and I couldn't exactly make a phone call caked in mud. We aimed for what we thought was a pub, and it turned out to be a restaurant called the West Mersea Oyster Bar. A poor lady is having a smoke outside, it's pitch black, in the rain, and all of a sudden a figure emerges, covered from head to toe in mud. I say, "Hey, how's it going?" And I explain the situation, but she really doesn't know what to say to me. I make the phone call to my mum, as she's been worried sick. Apparently she's been shouting my name at the West Mersea coast. I need to say a very big thank you to the staff at the Oyster Bar. Not only did they help us get the kayaks out of the mud, they let us store them there for the weekend, and I must say the food there is lovely. We spent the weekend in Mersea with my mum, The following day my dad picked us up in his van and he wasn't looking best pleased. So there's a lot of effort that goes into making videos like this, so I'm hoping you enjoyed it. If you did, a like and comment would be super appreciated as it really does help the channel. Also hit that subscribe button as I'm sure I'll be making videos to the end of my days. If you didn't like the video, tell me what I can do to improve. As always, thank you for watching the video and I appreciate you watching to the end. Bye bye.